Rube, it's another one of these games where you look at the scoreboard at the end, you say, okay, that was a comfortable win. There were some uncomfortable moments in that game.
Yeah, it wasn't really till the fourth quarter that they really kind of started rolling. Defense kept them in it until the offense finally got going. But yeah, I mean they were trailing in the fourth quarter at home to Washington, and it was a little hairy there.
It was, but the team pulls it out. The Eagles win 26-18. They're 8-2. This is the Eagle Eye Podcast presented by Nissan. He's Reuben Frank. I'm Dave Zangaro. A lot to talk about. We'll go through the offense, the defense. Special teams was an adventure in this game. We have some leftovers at the end. But Rube, kind of a big picture look at this. This is a huge win, no matter how it had to happen. If it was ugly, if it ended up being a blowout, no matter what happened in this game, they needed a win.
They really did. And if Washington won this game on the road, it would have given them pretty commanding edge in the division. Not one that the Eagles couldn't overcome, but they would have had a little grip on the division. But now I think the Eagles, they showed me more in this game, even though it was an 8-point game, than they did in the last 5, just because you're playing a team that's pretty good. And I'm not sure they're 7-3 good. They were 7-2. They've kind of come back to earth a little bit. So is their quarterback, but they're the team. They're the only competitive team other than yourself in the division, and it's a game you have to win, and they did. And it was a little hairy for a while, a little shaky early, but I thought the defense just showed me a lot playing the way they did. Look, this isn't Daniel Jones or Cooper Rush, Deshaun Watson out there. This is a kid who's been tearing up the league, and he just had nowhere to go with the ball. It was their coverage was insane. Their secondary is insane.
Yeah, it was a great defensive performance, really the entire game. Some missed tackles early, which was like weird to see.
Yeah.
You kind of forgot what that looked like. It had been so long. But then the defense is great. The offense, some sputtering in this game, but man, you have Saquon Barkley and even Kenny Gainwell with some nice runs. They run the football. They exploded in the end of this game, and they win 26-18. And Washington got the late touchdown. Zach Ertz gets in the end zone. Good for him. At that point, though, it seemed like they'd already kind of given up.
Yeah, they got the 2-point conversion, made it a 1-possession game, and now you're thinking,
which makes what they were doing before that so weird.
Exactly.
They were down 16 points. It's a 2-possession game, and they're like running the football, and wasting time.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. It's almost like they realized, oh, this is still a game. This is a 1-possession game. Let's actually play.
It was weird, right?
It was weird, and also not kicking the field goal to take the lead was weird. But whatever. That's not our problem. That's their problem. I thought, starting with the offense, I mean, I really liked Kellen Moore. I think we've seen a lot of coaches, when the running game's not working, they give up on it. They abandon it. We've seen coaches do that in the first quarter. Kellen Moore stuck with it, and he just kept hammering it, and he just kind of eventually it's going to break, and it did. It took a while, but I just think he has so much trust in this O-line to open the holes and Saquon to eventually break one. I just think you give him the ball 25 times, he's going to break one. And this O-line has a way to kind of beat down defensive lines, and they did that. And by the end of the game, they couldn't touch him.
Yeah, and we'll look at the offense now. Saquon Barkley.
I'd started that process.
I know.
Okay.
Saquon Barkley, 26 carries, 146 yards, 2 touchdowns. He got in the end zone twice in this game because he didn't go down at the 1 every single time.
And he was 18 for 69 going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
3.5 yards a pop.
And then also through the air, 252, he had that big 43-yard catch, the longest of his Eagles career.
Yeah, and I just think it's so important to involve him in the passing game, which they have sporadically, and it hasn't always been pretty. So obviously the Falcons drop, but
this one's in the middle of the field too.
Yeah. I just think you get him in the open field like that, and it's a different way to get him the ball in a different position where he's not running into the line of scrimmage. And boy, he looked fast on that one.
He looked fast on all of them.
Yeah, well, that too. But I'd like to see that continue, him in the passing game. I just and I love getting Gainwell in there for that one drive because Saquon had a lot of carries at that point, and there was a lot of 1s and 2s in there. It's like, all right, let's just give them a different look. And I think it's really hard as a defense when you've been playing Saquon Barkley the whole first 2.5 quarters, and all of a sudden there's a different body, a different skill set, more of just a different kind of runner, a guy who's fresh, also fresh legs. And Gainwell goes, 14, 11, 7 or 14,
15, 7.
14, 15, 7 on and sets up the Jalen touchdown. I think,
and that was the touchdown to take the lead.
That was the touchdown to take the lead.
The crazy thing is, like, Kenny Gainwell got rolling in the run game before Saquon got going big.
Yeah, he did. And so at that point, Saquon was like 18 for 59, and Gainwell was like 4 for 42 or something.
Yeah, I mean, he finished his 4 for 43.
So he wasn't 4 for 42 at that point. He was 4 for 40 because he had the 9-yard run early, I think. I love that. I just think that's good coaching, good play calling, using all the guys that you have. And Gainwell's good. I mean, I don't know if he'll ever be a 1, but I think this is the perfect role for him. And he came up big.
Yeah, I mean, he absolutely did. And the cool thing I heard in the locker room after the game about Saquon was from 3 different offensive linemen, just about how, like, when things weren't working early for him, when he is getting bottled up a little bit, just how, like, positive he is. And he's, like, talking to all the offensive linemen, just telling them exactly what he needs, telling them, like, hey, we're going to hit this. We're going to hit this. And they said it, like, when Saquon Barkley is telling you that, you kind of believe it, and it helps them play better. I thought that was a cool thing to come out of the locker room tonight.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me just because he's such a positive guy, and that's just his personality. And I think that's really valuable. I just think that means a lot. And because it's easy to get frustrated when things aren't going well. And just a couple words from a guy like that can really, get your confidence back.
Yeah, the offensive line blocked beautifully in that fourth quarter. I mean, some big holes. And late in that game, especially the 40-yard run, everyone in the stadium knows they're running the football. And for him to be able to get that big of a seam and bust it like that, that's impressive.
You mean the 39-yarder?
Yes.
Yeah, I really didn't know what you meant when you said 40-yarder.
Initially, I think they called it a 40-yarder in the press box. So
really?
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. And the blocking on those, and look, you give him all the credit in the world, but I don't know if he was touched on either one.
Cam Jurgens picking on that poor safety 35. He throws him out, throws him on the ground. Poor guy gets up. Guess who's in his face? He got number 51 throwing him back on the ground.
How about that 74 getting abused by the Eagles edge rushers?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that was fun. But yeah, that we'll get to that. But I mean, to rush for 77 yards in a fourth quarter, and I wrote down the numbers here. I probably can't find it, but like Saquon all year has been average in the first half. I mean, he's averaging like 3.9 in the first half. I don't know. I got notes all throughout here, like from the last 4 games, but I know
decades
that surprises you. But it's really interesting to me that a guy like who's that talented really has not gotten going in the first half, other than here and there. In the second half, so, I mean, he's averaging like 6 yards a carry.
Yeah. And it's amazing. He looks so fast in these second halves.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful thing about him. And we've talked about it, even like in the Cleveland game where they stuck with the run and he didn't break one. That felt like the outlier game. It feels like if you give him 20, 25 carries, he's going to bust one.
Yeah, eventually. You're right. He was asked, we ran him on post game in a locker room. Were you there for his?
I was not. It's funny. You'll like this little inside the locker room story. I was talking to Lane Johnson. I didn't see Saquon come out. Like my back is turned to where Saquon is. So thank you to John Clark comes up and says, hey, Saquon's there, but it's a big pack around him. And I was like, John, you got the arms for this. So luckily Clarky was able to get his hand in there for Saquon.
You see how high Clarky jumped when those
the fireworks
went off.
Yeah.
Pregame.
They get him every game.
He turned white. I jumped a little too, but yeah, I think
you're about to say what Saquon
said. He was asked about that. He looks like he gets stronger as the game goes on. He says, "Yeah, I think that's just natural."
Like, I don't think it is.
It's not natural. It's
you're pretty
weird.
supernatural. Yeah,
and Shady was like that. Shady was like that as well. A lot of comps there. Shady still holds the record for most 40-yard touchdown runs in the fourth quarter. Saquon might. Well, 39, that might cost him that record. They changed the
I did tell you my stat before we started this pod, but it was a good one. The first Eagles player to have 2 touchdown runs of 20+ yards in the same game since Shady in the Snow Bowl.
Yeah.
So you have to go back to like the best rushing performance in team history.
Yeah, he set the record that day, right? And he was 40 and 57.
The 2 runs.
Yeah. 40 and 57.
Yeah, 40 and 57.
Yeah. As good as
that's a slide trick by you. You got it wrong before the pod, and then you broke out the right numbers
I
during
said
the pod.
43 and 57.
Yeah, okay.
But I wasn't going to repeat the error.
I know what it makes you look. I like that. That's a sneaky move.
But anyway, there's a trick I do on the radio. I'm not going to reveal it though. Maybe one day. But you reminded me of it. But yeah, I didn't think I'd ever see anybody better than Shady. Saquon is.
He's unbelievable.
I mean, Shady did it for a lot of years, and Saquon's later in his career. Obviously, Shady started here, was 21. But I mean, the level. I mean, he had like 190 some odd scrimmage yards in a game where 3 quarters through, you're like, yeah, he's having an off day.
Yeah.
Like I went from writing about like they just can't get Saquon going here, I don't know why, to this guy's just a beast. It's incredible. You just wonder what Giants fans think.
It's got to be, and like they're sitting home on a Thursday night just hating life.
Yeah, it's incredible. It just goes to show you. I mean, he had 2 really good years in 6 seasons there, but when you get around good players, good offensive line, great offensive line, just a winning culture, which he never had there, an elite quarterback, didn't play elite tonight, but it just brings out the best in you. And when you have, I mean, we've said this before, Evan Ingram in 2020 was the only Pro Bowler he ever played with on the offensive side of the ball. Never had a Pro Bowl quarterback, receiver, O-line. And Evan Ingram wasn't even that good that year, as you mentioned. And you come here and you have all this talent around you. It just makes it so much, I don't say easier, but just so much more natural to excel. You're just putting someone in an atmosphere and a culture and an offense that you're going to excel. It's incredible.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the non-Saquon portion of the offense. Sure. Because some rough moments. I mean, this was a rough offensive performance for 3 quarters. You look at the drive chart here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty ugly through 3 quarters. Missed field goal, punt, missed field goal, punt, field goal. Could not get in the end zone. We're not good in the red zone. Jalen Hurts did not have a very good performance in this one. He was just missing some reads. He was missing some open players.
He just looked off.
Looked uncomfortable in the pocket. We should mention in this game he got evaluated for a concussion and did not get a concussion. He was cleared. He returned to the game in the second half. So no Kenny Pickett in this one, but there was a moment going into halftime where you thought Jalen Hurts might not be back in this game.
There was that moment. Now, Nick said, were you there for Nick's presser?
No.
He said he knew early on, like he never had to talk.
Oh, yeah. And like going into half.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He knew he was going to be fine. But yeah, we didn't know that. So
right before halftime, Jalen goes into the blue tent. It's the end of the half. Everyone's leaving the field. He's still in the blue tent. Eventually he comes out. They throw the coat over him. He jogs in, but we didn't get word until the second half was about to start.
When he came out. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you see him running down the tunnel? He's like pushing guys out of the way to get in there first.
Mm-hmm.
That was interesting. I don't know.
He probably has more to do at halftime.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. I'm not too concerned about the way he played. I mean, he got off to a slow start. I thought Washington's defense did some things early they got a little pressure early. They weren't running the ball. I started thinking like, when they're not running the ball and you're a running team, it makes it hard for a quarterback. You're in a lot of third and longs, and I don't know. It was just weird. The whole offense just wasn't working early.
It really just out of whack. Offense.
Yeah, they had no rhythm. And then when they got down, Elliott missed field goal. So when they got down inside the 20 or 30, I just felt like it was going to come. I thought he made some big throws in the second half. He was 8 for 9 in the second half for 210, was it? I believe. I thought he did some good things. You know, the AJ Brown play was a short pass turned into a big play, but take those. Certainly, they're all line drives in the box score.
Yeah, no deep balls though in this game. I thought there would be opportunities for those, especially when you have AJ Brown against Mikey Sainristil, who's like 5'10".
Played well though.
He's a good player.
Yeah.
Ideally, he's a nickel, and they got him playing outside until Lattimore plays. But he's a good player.
Yeah,
he's much better than St. Juice.
Yes, I thought he was good. I thought he was really good tonight. I just think Washington played a little over their heads defensively.
I agree with that.
Half.
Yeah,
but I thought it was going to come, and
chippy game, by the way.
It was. Yeah,
I like that.
Jalen Carter is going to get personal fouls. Like I'm surprised he didn't get one or two.
He had the one late shove. You can't have the late shove. You got to get the first shove.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Usually they ring you up for the late shove. He didn't get any. I thought it was well officiated. The one spot was ridiculous when Jalen was diving. I mean, like, what are you looking at? And then the catch, that obviously wasn't a catch, but
and they missed the face mask on Devontae.
They did.
Well, they didn't miss it. They called it and then picked up the flag.
What was that all about? They just decided they didn't want to call it. For the most part, it was well officiated. There's always going to be, and the ones the egregious ones they fixed. It's like, we just got it wrong. You don't have to challenge it. We're just going to fix it. But let's see AJ involved more.
I think AJ would like to see AJ involved more.
I'm guessing AJ didn't talk today.
He did not.
Yeah.
Apparently, I think someone said he had to go do the Amazon stuff after.
Oh, I see.
Which I don't know why they'd want to talk to him after that game. He had a fine game, but it wasn't like,
Yeah.
He had 5 for 65, which is good, but not.
Yeah.
Like a huge game for AJ.
Yeah, I don't know.
I kind of agree with you. I thought like there was some
maybe
moments
they needed someone who was going to get there really, really fast.
There were moments where I was just thinking like, get 11 the ball.
Yeah,
just get him the ball.
Yeah, agree.
Offense a little out of whack. What'd you make of the trick play?
I didn't mind it. Obviously, it was a disaster.
I don't like it in that spot.
Yeah, I don't like it in that spot. I don't mind it in general. You have a chance to get a big play. They just blew it up.
Yeah, I mean, I think your big play could have been wait until you have single high and throw it to AJ Brown.
I thought it was a situation where they were trying to get something going.
And on that play, for the linebacker was blitzing, and it's kind of like a delayed blitz, and he ended up in the backfield.
Yeah. But eventually they got it sorted out, and it was great to have Mulata back.
Yeah, I talked to him after the game. He said his hamstring held up fine.
That's good to hear. He's got 10 days.
To
rest it.
Yeah, he looked good today.
I thought so. Landon just like can't even walk off the field. Did he miss two plays? One play?
I don't think he.
I mean,
did he miss any? I don't think he missed out a play.
Steen went out for maybe one play.
One play, yeah.
And then he comes back and plays really well.
Landon, he's starting to reach that Kelsey territory of like there's always something.
Yeah,
and he just plays through it.
Yeah. And that was a big concern with him coming out was the injuries.
Injuries, yeah.
He's figured out how to play through them. But yeah, it was good to have the O-line. That O-line really hasn't been intact much this year, so it was good to see. And then you're thinking he's hurt. Like, was it the third play of the game?
Yeah.
But yeah, he came back, tough dude, and they were good.
Want to give a special shout out, most underrated play of the game, Grant Calcaterra. I mean, that was enormous.
It was
a heads-up play.
What a hustle play.
Yeah, I mean, man, Dallas Goedert, big explosive, and then fumbles the football. Grant Calcaterra somehow jumps on that ball. Dallas told Grant, "How much money do you want?" And he bailed him out there. That was a huge play. They could have lost this game if that didn't happen.
You're right. And then it was funny because Nick was asked about that, and he mentioned the Quez fumble against Washington 2 years ago at the link. And he's like, they recovered it, and that cost us the game. I didn't expect that was not on my bingo card for Nick to rip Quez Watkins in his presser tonight.
Well, at that point, the Eagles are up 12-10. It's a 2-point game.
Yeah.
Then they score on that drive. They go up 19-10, and then it was pretty much ball game. But man, if they get that football back, I don't know what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, different game. Did you have a chance to talk to Calcaterra?
Yeah.
What was his?
He said he he jumped on the football. But it's something.
He's not a man of many words.
But he did acknowledge that that's the type of play the coaching staff is probably going to show in front of the whole team. It's the type of play they praise because it's a play without the football, and he's running to try to make a block. That's why he's down there in the first place. He's trying to block for his teammate, and then he has the awareness to jump on the ball. Everyone appreciated that, especially Dallas Goedert.
Yeah, and there were a couple Commodores right there.
Mm-hmm.
Commodores. Yeah, Lionel Richie.
What were they
was
singing?
There.
Yeah,
Lionel Richie was there. He was dancing on the ceiling.
Smooth voices of the Commodores.
Commanders.
That'd be the story of the game if the Commodores jumped on that football.
Yeah. You know what song I was liked by the Commodores? Sail On. Well, that was a great song.
Okay, good.
Sail On. Yeah, Calcaterra was good. I don't think he caught a ball today, so he made a difference in a different way. That was huge.
Yeah, you look at the rest of the box score. Dallas Goedert had 5 for 61. Saquon had the 2 for 52. Devontae Smith, relatively quiet day, 4 for 29. Had that early slant. That was a big play. Jahan Dotson got the first touch of the game, an 8-yard play. Did not get another. He got one more target, and it was a nice pass breakup by the defender.
Yeah.
Kenny Gainwell had 1 for 6.
He could have been a little more physical, I think.
Probably, but that's not really his game.
No, it's not. It's not. I like Gainwell in the passing game too. He's good receiver. I'm a Gainwell fan. Unabashed.
I've noticed.
Yeah. I think he should be starting.
He's their best running back. Is that your take?
It is.
Yeah, that's a heck of a take. I know you guys give grades. I have to give my grades for the written piece. Jalen, what'd you give him?
Gave him a C.
Yeah, that's where I'm going with him.
Yeah.
It just wasn't a great performance.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's anything to be like super concerned about, but he just looked uncomfortable today.
And he has these games.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and almost always he kind of finds a way to bounce back.
Yeah. There were just some moments where like the ball is late, the ball's not out, this guy's open, AJ's wide open, AJ's wide. There was one play, AJ was open, he was running across the field, he was wide open for like 20 seconds, and finally Jalen hits him. I thought like a little like the body language from AJ today was a little like not super frustrated, but come on, man, what are we doing?
Yeah, there was a few moments. I'm just watching the TV copy, but there were a couple moments where you could see he was.
It wasn't like over the top, but it was like, hey, I'm the best player on the field. I'd like you to get me the football.
Yeah. And we talked about this on the pregame. Like when you're running it 45 times a game, what was today? 40? How many times did they run the ball? 39, 40?
30 with the backs, 40 overall.
30 with the backs, 40 overall.
Yeah.
When you're running it that much, there's not going to be that many balls to go around. And it's something that they're going to have to navigate because Devontae's got to get his, AJ's got to get his, Dallas. And when you're only throwing it like 21 times, 24 times, it's hard to do that.
Mm-hmm. Devontae got a good limp after the game. He's been dealing with that hamstring. Yeah. So of all the players on this team, I think he's going to benefit most from this little mini bye week they have. He got a birthday cake in the locker room. The team, it was his birthday today.
I figured.
Team, it'd be weird if it wasn't, right? But the team gave him a birthday cake, nice little team bonding moment. I saw the cake in the locker room. Didn't get a slice, so.
Really?
Yeah.
I think Doug said it's his son's birthday.
Okay.
Doug sits right there. Yeah. What's your favorite kind of cake?
I actually just had it the other day. My mom makes a double layer chocolate cake. It was my dad's birthday, so she made a chocolate cake.
I love carrot cake.
Awful take, but go ahead.
You're not a carrot cake guy?
No. Keep vegetables out of cake.
Love carrot cake. But yeah, I'll probably go chocolate.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
Vanilla frosting?
Yeah. I'm down with that.
Okay.
So what else we got? Are we just going to talk about cake?
Yeah, I was thinking about cake for a while there. Got anything else on the offense?
No, I think we've exhausted that topic.
Okay, let's take a break. We'll talk defense, special teams, and some leftovers on the other side.
You deserve a car that thrills you, a car that puts goosebumps on your goosebumps. At Nissan, we got everything from turbocharged SUVs to 100% electric vehicles that'll make your heart beat faster. Experience the thrill for yourself and shop your local Nissan store at nissanusa.com today.
Celebrity cook Steve Martorano brings his Italian-American cooking back home to Philly. Enjoy Martorano's Prime at Rivers Casino and Steve's famous meatballs with Sunday gravy, prime steaks, and more. Make reservations at Martorano's Prime on Open Table. All right, we're back on the Eagle Eye Podcast presented by Nissan. Time to talk some defense, Rube. Unlike the offense that came alive in the fourth quarter, defense played lights out pretty much the whole game.
Yeah, they gave up that touchdown drive early, but like Vic Fangio's defenses usually do, they just tightened up after that. I think that was their second drive. I love the way the defense played, and I feel like I learned more about the Eagles' defense today than in any of the previous 5 games, just because of who they were facing. And I don't think Washington's a great offense, but they have some great weapons. And the way Jaden Daniels has been playing, Terry McLaurin is, he's 1,000 yards every year, perennial Pro Bowler. They run the ball well enough. Brian Robinson's a decent player. Eckler kind of killed him with some big plays in the passing game. He's tough. He's a load. He's tough to bring down.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a weird offense to get ready for in 4 days because they run the two running back, like the pony set.
Yeah.
You haven't really seen that much. So I think that is kind of a weird, quirky thing to get ready for on short rest.
And I think one thing you see with short weeks is it takes teams a while to kind of get going. And that's what we saw. Man, I don't even know where to start with this defense because there's just so many studs in this group, and they play so well as a team too. But and there's no weak link. I mean, CJ has been playing better, I think, the last couple of weeks. I thought he was good tonight. And when he's good, I mean, there's like, what's the weak link? There isn't one. They're just so good. And I thought the coverage was otherworldly. I mean, this kid has been lighting it up. He had nowhere to throw the ball. He didn't have a completion to a wide receiver over 10 yards.
I mean, it was a long time before he even had a completion to a receiver.
Yeah, Terry McLaurin, was it early fourth quarter maybe?
Yeah. Terry McLaurin ended up with 1 catch on 2 targets for 10 yards. And this is a crazy stat. This is from Next Gen Stats. Benjamin Solak tweeted this out. McLaurin, when lined up opposite Quinyon, 20 routes, no targets.
Incredible.
Just clamps. The Brand, I can't wait for this play. I'll see it tomorrow on the film. The Brandon Graham sack was just a complete coverage sack because Quinyon Mitchell was in the hip of Terry McLaurin. Just, I mean, incredible coverage. I think it was a double move, just nowhere to go. And you can see Jaden Daniels is just like trying to force feed Terry McLaurin the ball, and he can't throw that football.
Yeah. I thought they got in his head a little bit by the second half. He was skipping stones out there a little bit.
Yeah, apparently has like there's talk about him having some kind of rib injury.
Please, maybe, but
you don't believe that?
No, it's just, I mean, as soon as he has a bad game, now he has a rib injury. I mean,
no, I heard it before the game.
Okay,
yeah,
yeah, maybe. But if you're out there playing, you're fair game. I thought they pressured well. They got some sacks on him. The Nolan Smith sack was really nice, and I'm just dazzled by this secondary that's been together for 6 weeks. I mean, Cooper DeJean made his first NFL start 6 weeks ago, and he's playing like just lights out. And that was a BS penalty on him, by the way, I thought.
Yeah, the DPI.
Yeah. He grabbed his jersey. But, yeah, I mean, Zack Baun, I'm running out of adjectives. He's like
14 tackles, 1 TFL, and a pass breakup. And, of course, the play on 4th and 2, although it wasn't just him. It was a bobbled snap.
Yeah. And then Reed Blankenship comes
a crazy angle to force him out. It was Jalen Carter slipping into the backfield.
Yeah. It's team football. But yeah, Reed Blankenship, he wasn't even in the picture. He just like comes from like halfway across the field to finish it. But it was, I mean, Zack Baun had the
violence with which Zack Baun made that play and just wiped Daniels off of it.
Yeah.
Like Daniels was obviously a very big quarterback, but against some players, he might have been able to fall forward a little bit, and he just got wiped away.
Yeah, I thought they did a great job the whole night. What was his rushing stats? Jaden, 7 for 18. I mean, this is a guy who's got 500 rushing yards this year.
He's their leading rusher coming into this game.
Yeah. every facet of defense was elite. That we could talk about that series of 3 plays there. They had a 2nd and 1, and I think BG had to stop on the first one. That was Robinson, and then the second one, I think he actually lost a yard. I think that was Baun and Carter.
Yeah, I got to find the
and it's not like they didn't get a yard. Like they were getting thrown back. He was getting thrown backwards.
Yeah. Carter was unbelievable on that sequence.
Unbelievable. And
he's starting to stack some really good games, by the way.
He really is.
I know the sack numbers aren't there, and that's what everyone wants to see, but I mean, he's playing just such good football right now. He had 1 TFL in this game, but 7 tackles, and he was making an impact.
He's so disruptive, and I think he really prevents offenses from operating the way they want to operate, because he's just manhandling people, and he's just throwing off their timing. And hey, man, it's fun to watch.
And Jordan Davis had a nice game.
He did. He has to make a couple plays.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the whole D line, the whole defense. I thought Kobe made a huge play on Jaden Daniels early.
Oh yeah, that's a really tough play. It's mano-a-mano.
Open field,
and
7-0 there. They're up 7-0, and they get the ball back, and that was what, a 3rd and 4.
That was a 3rd and 6.
3rd and 6, and he stopped him for like a 3-yard gain.
2-yard gain.
I hate when I'm wrong, but yeah, it was open field, and he was so patient, waiting for Daniels to commit.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as he committed to the right, man, he made a solo tackle, and it was a second or two before help got on the way. He brought him down by himself.
Yeah, that was a big play. You're
That's
right.
a tough guy to bring down by yourself. Mm-hmm. Nakobe's not getting – look, he's not making the plays that Zack Baun is, but
no one is
playing at a pretty good level.
That's Zack Baun early in the game, dropping in the coverage and getting that pass break up.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, diving pass break up on the first series of the game.
Yeah.
And then it was so weird, that touchdown drive. You're like, oh yeah, this was like what it was like early in the season when you had missed tackles. It was that 18-yard run from Brian Robinson. It was Zack Baun and Milton Williams missing the tackle.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's weird. That doesn't happen very often anymore. And that was really the last time it happened in this game.
Short week, early in the game. You just see teams aren't themselves. I did some Washington radio station. They asked me about Zack Baun, and I said, this is the best linebacker play we've seen since Jeremiah Trotter. And the guy's like, oh yeah, we forget down here that he was good up there.
Oh yeah.
Which was interesting. He's playing at, if he doesn't go to the Pro Bowl, it's a travesty.
He's been unbelievable.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard Jalen Hurts just really rave about him after the game.
I did.
It's very rare that Jalen Hurts, he's always very complimentary of his teammates, but he raved about Zack Baun, called him a tone setter, and said his paraphrasing here, but he said his play style really suits and fits this city. Yeah. And I agree with him.
I thought that was a really good comment. I talked to Malcolm Jenkins about Zach. I ran into him. He was right behind where we were doing our hits pregame,
because they were teammates in New Orleans
for 2 years. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he said he always thought he had a little Demario Davis in him, and he said he was the most athletic linebacker I've played with, and I always thought if he was in the right scheme and the right system, he could be a really good player. It's just a matter of finding that. And he said he found it, and they know how to use him. They're using them the right way. And yeah, he said he said, I knew he had it in him, but did I expect him to play like this? I can't say I did. But he also said it's nice of the Saints to keep sending these players up here. He was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's been a few.
There have been a few.
Yeah.
Talking to Zack Baun after the game, it's very funny because he won NFC Defensive Player of the Week, and he was talking about how uncomfortable he is with all the attention.
He's a very humble guy.
Yeah, he's like, I don't really enjoy that part of it. I think he likes playing well, obviously, but this is new to him, having a spotlight in the NFL on him. And I don't think he's enjoying that part as much. He wants to be kind of a under the radar guy, but tough luck, buddy. You're playing like this. Everyone's going to talk about you.
Yeah, I love talking football with him. And he doesn't talk about himself, but he's great talking about anybody else on the defense. And really instinctive. He's got that great combination of athleticism and speed and toughness and physicality and size and instinct. And it is something else.
Matt, the defense was just so good in this game.
Yeah.
Josh Sweat had another sack.
Is that 6 now?
Mm-hmm. BG had another sack. 6 and 7 games, by the way.
Yeah. And Nolan Smith has 3.5 now.
Yeah, 3.5. He had 1 as a rookie.
Yeah. And if he can get to like, 6 would be.
And he's a starter now. We don't really talk about that.
Yeah.
He's a starter.
He is a starter. Yeah. He's a good player. And I had my doubts, I'll be honest. I wasn't sure. And I kind of broke my own cardinal rule that you just got to wait. Like, you got to be patient sometimes with guys. And
he was a guy who we even acknowledged when they drafted him. It might take some time.
Yeah. Yeah. But as you noted early on, I mean, he always plays hard.
And you can have a guy like that.
Yeah.
And you'll make fun of me for this, but like Derek Barnett was like that too.
Yeah.
Now, he had the penalty issue, which was a problem.
Right.
But he always played hard. And that's why it's like his teammates respected him so much when and people are going to be like, why are you comparing?
No, I think it's a fair comp.
It's because like they played hard and like they earned the respect of their teammates.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I can't say enough about this. Is 6 straight games they've held a team to under 280 yards. It's the first time they've done that since 1991, which was statistically the best defense in the last 50 years of the NFL. Bud Carson, just Hall of Fame caliber guys up and down that lineup. Before that, it was 1954.
Wow, the
game was a little different back then, as I can attest. We're seeing like this defense playing at just a historically consistent level. They still have not given up a touchdown longer than 5 yards in 6 straight games.
It's unbelievable.
Ursa's touchdown was the longest they've given up in 6 games, 5 yards. That was an incredible catch he made, by the way, on the
2-point. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't think he had a chance, and then we watched it like 10 times in slow-mo and got that right foot in. It was good to see him doing well. Great guy, one of my favorites. He had a decent game. What do you have? 5 for 64 or something? 6 for 47, and a TD. He passed Greg Olson, moved into 6th.
Okay.
For all-time tight ends, and had a 750th. That's a lot of catches.
Yeah,
750 catches. So, not a Hall of Famer, but just a really good player.
Yeah. Anyone else on defense we have to give a special shout out to? Don't want to leave anyone out.
We mentioned everybody. You know who I do want to mention? Reed Blankenship.
Another pick.
Just has this knack for, like, his picks are not like in the breadbasket. They're balls on the ground that he gets his hand under. And, I wrote about his interceptions a few weeks ago and what goes into an interception. And he said he watches the wide receivers when they do individual and sees how they get their hands under the ball. And, he'll duck into meetings. He's like, I want to be like a wide receiver because you got to do that. To get that catch, you got to have if you're catching on the ground, you got to have your hands under it. And he's learned how to do that.
He was setting the tone early too with some big hits.
He had a big game. Yeah.
They had 3 guys with 10+ tackles.
Wow. And that's now 11 takeaways in their last 6 games, 12 takeaways in their previous 21 games.
Wow.
Incredible. Something has clicked with this defense. And, they're going to, like, they face some good offenses coming up. The Rams have some weapons. It's out there. The Ravens obviously are loaded. I mean, this defense is elite.
Yeah, I mean, it kept them in this game today because the offense was really slow to get started. The defense showed up early. They gave up that 1 touchdown, but then there were clamps after that. It's amazing that they're the better unit right now,
isn't it? And I mean, they shouldn't be.
They shouldn't be, but who cares?
Yeah.
Like, it's working.
Yeah.
And they're playing well together.
And as shaky as the offense was, if Akers makes even misses Akers. God, did I say that? Elliott, I was comparing them earlier. Jake Elliott makes an extra point, and even just give him the 44-yarder and not even the 51, but he's got to make a 51. That's a layup these days. Now you're looking at 33 points that they scored.
Well, let's talk about
Jake
and special teams in general. How concerned are you about the kicker right now?
A little bit. We haven't seen these kind of stretches. He's missed more kicks in the last 5 games than he has in his previous 2 full seasons.
Yeah.
A little bit concerned.
This is just the second game in his career he's missed 2 field goals.
Dallas in 2019, right?
Yeah.
I did look that up. I didn't use it, but I did look it up. I'm a little concerned. There's
all 3 kicks he missed wide left.
I wonder if he's 100% healthy.
Huh?
I mean, he hasn't been on the injury report. Kickers are a funny breed. They'll Eagles had a kicker here when Jaws was here named Paul McFadden, also from Youngstown State. And he was the most accurate kicker in NFL history after his first 2 seasons. His third season, he just couldn't make a kick. They kept him around for another year and cut him. He never kicked again. Jake Elliott's done it for a long time at a really high level, but kickers are weird. Like the surprising thing is he's had the same holder and the same, snapper forever. So you'd think the operation would be at a point where you're making a 44-yarder and a PAT.
He's now 0 for 4 on 50-plus kicks this year.
0 for 4, and he was 9th most accurate in history from 50 and out coming into the season. I'm a little concerned. Yeah,
it's certainly something to monitor. I didn't have that on my bingo card this year, Jake Elliott struggles, but it's something to keep an eye on at least. I have some faith that he'll turn it around. I mean, he's already, to me, the best kicker in franchise history. So you give him a little bit of rope here. He got the sarcastic cheers when he made the 31-yarder and then the PATs at the end.
It sounds silly, but I'm glad he had a chance to make. I mean, the first one was like 21, a 22, and a 31. But just to leave the game with something positive has got to be good. Did he talk at all?
I saw him in there. I think he talked to some people. I didn't get over there.
Yeah, there's not much he can say. He missed. I don't think he's a guy whose confidence against.
Now, what if the Eagles sign Jason Peters again and tell him not to miss?
Yeah. We were talking about on post game. Jason Peters kind of frightened him into
no more misses.
Yeah,
I think that would work for me too. If Jason Peters told me no more misses,
if he told me to skydive off the Eiffel Tower, I'd probably do it. Whatever you want, Jason. I'm not worried about Elliott, but something to keep an eye on here these next 8 games.
It was a weird. You good?
Seven games.
Yeah.
It didn't sound right.
Yeah, you were close.
I was close.
I know numbers aren't your thing. A bad punt from Brady Mann.
That was terrible.
38-yard punt.
Yeah, when they needed a.
Yeah, it was like, man, special teams all of a sudden starting to. Then they had a penalty. They had a block in the back on Sidney Brown, I think.
It was Sidney. Nice return by Shipley. That was a positive. We all gave special teams a C. Probably could have been lower.
Yeah, it could have been lower.
Could have been lower. That Brady Mann punt bothered me because that's like supposed to be. What did he landed at the? He landed like at the 40, and then it bounced out to the 45, something like that.
Yeah, it was ugly.
Yeah,
but then again, Trust Way had a bad punt in this game.
Yeah,
going the same way. So maybe there was some kind of weird wind or something.
It was breezy down there, which you don't often get. It was cold. How many times has Michael Clay told us it's harder to kick when it gets colder?
Yeah,
maybe that's part of it.
Maybe, but 38 yards isn't good enough.
No.
Okay, that's all I had there. Any leftovers you got?
I'm just kind of looking at the schedule a little bit.
They got a tough schedule. And that's why this was so big, by the way. Looking at like remaining strength of schedule.
Yeah.
Eagles have a tougher schedule than Washington. So it's really important to beat them in these head-to-head matchups.
Yeah, agree. I do think like when you look at Dallas, Giants, Carolina, like if they take care of business, that gets them to 11.
Yeah.
And then if they can just go 2-2 in the others, which is Washington again, the Ravens, the Steelers, and the Rams. And they're favored against the Rams out there. They're a really good road team. They have the second best road record in the NFL since Nick started behind the Chiefs. The Chiefs never lose to anybody anywhere. So they're a really good road team. So if they can go 2-2 in those games, that gets you to 13. I don't know if 13 is enough to get the number 1 seed. The lines are 8-1, and they have some tough games coming up too. I mean, they have the Vikings, they have the Bears twice, but I think I still think the Lions would be favored to be the top seed. But if they slip up, I like the Eagles' chances.
Yeah, they're right on their heels.
Yeah. So
let's talk Nick Sirianni a little bit.
Sure.
We haven't done that, and this is we haven't had a chance to talk about it because we had such a weird short week, but. The Eagles released their like post-game speech from Dallas, and then we saw the unscripted from before the game. I kind of like that his messaging last week and now going in this week was about like this team can do special things together.
Yeah.
I like that he has the feel of when to ramp up the intensity and when to say like they're hyper focused on each game, but I like that he's saying, hey, like look around, like this is we have something here, guys. Like we're building something like they're talking Super Bowl and they should be. And I like that he knows when to hit that button.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think that's definitely true. There's nothing wrong with getting guys to think really big and don't be afraid to be great has been like a mantra with them. And yeah. And there's still guys who were on that 22 team, still a bunch of them. A lot of them. So there's no reason not to set that as a goal. I mean, I don't think there's a team like the Chiefs are the number one. We did our rankings. They're number one team easily, but they're not the Chiefs. Like their offense certainly isn't like vintage Chiefs, but Mahomes. I mean, they don't have a lot of weapons. They've got a ton of injuries. They might get Pacheco back, I guess, soon, which will help, but they're not unbeatable.
No.
Obviously, they're in the other conference, but the Lions aren't unbeatable.
The NFC after the Lions is pretty wide open.
Really, I think after the Eagles and Lions, I mean, I guess the Vikings would be next. And then
the 49ers are still out there lurking with talent.
They have 4 losses. So they're getting guys back. They're getting healthy again. But the Eagles are in a really good place. And it's crazy to think since Nick on the sideline after the Browns game, I mean, they haven't lost a game or earlier in that day. I mean, but
they won that game.
I'm saying just because like that seemed like a crisis point.
Yeah.
But it wasn't for them. They're playing great football on defense. And
they have a 6-game winning streak right now. Yeah. And I don't know how you feel about this. I like the vibes of this team are good. And I know that this like seems obvious when they're on a 6-game win streak, but they were winning games last year and the vibes were not good. Like this team, there's a little bit something about it.
And there are like, I think the biggest difference, I want to hear what you think. The biggest difference between this team and last year's team, I mean, they're winning decisively. And there were games last year and there were games earlier this year where like, like the Browns game, like that should not have been that close. Even the Saints game. But during this winning streak, I just feel like they're just taking command of games in a way they weren't last year. Now, I didn't see the collapse coming, but I also didn't think they were a Super Bowl team even at 10-1. But like the fact that one of the narratives about this team coming into the season was, can they get past the way last year ended? And we don't talk about that at all. That speaks highly of Nick and the way he's handled this whole season and how he kind of, gutting the team of a lot of the problems on that roster. Yeah.
Anything else? Leftovers?
A couple quick things. It was good to see Vinny Curry.
Yeah, retired as an Eagle officially. Got to be the ceremonial coin flip captain today.
Yeah. Somebody came up. I was talking to Vinny, and somebody came up to him and said, "Hey, Vinny, there's a guy in the stands who says he came up from Florida just to see you, just to be here." And Vinny looks at me. I said, "He's making that up. He just wants like your autograph or something." He said, "Vinny's like, yeah, he's making that up." So that was really good. He's such a great guy. It was good to see him. I didn't get to see Kelsey's performance with Mount Joy because we had to be on the field for our hits. But I did get to run into Kelsey. I had a good chat with him. He was nervous.
I bet.
I got to spend some time with with Matt Quinn from Mount Joy, who's just a huge Eagles fan, great guy. And I'm so happy for their success. Really good people in that band. And somebody sent me a video of Kelsey singing with them. It's just really cool. But every time I see Kelsey, I saw him in the hallway, and I was like, "How do you get this big? Like, what is going on here?" He used to be this like slob 6th-round pick. He's like, "I don't know," but it's always good to see him. And so it was a fun night. Like Malcolm was around. Saw Trey Burton, Vinny.
B West was out there.
I didn't see B West. Yeah, I didn't see Ertz. I was hoping I get to see Zach before the game. Didn't get to see him. Allie was there. It's always good to see Allie, former PR Ally McBeal, is that her name? It's that TV show.
It's a TV show.
She went to Shawnee, right? That actress who played Ally McBeal.
I don't know.
What's her name?
I feel like it's a good time to talk about it now.
But that's all I got. Really impressive win.
Nice fly performance by the Eagle today.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Honestly, it wasn't. It was a little short performance.
Oh, really?
It was just like a straight out and then down to the handler.
This woman's name, Ally McBeal, actress. I guess that show's not on anymore, right? Was that like in the 70s?
After that, but I think it was a 90s show.
Callista Flockhart, and I believe she went to Shawnee High School.
Okay.
I'm just going to look that up. So you just talk for a minute about like Steve or something.
Okay. I have nothing to. I mean, we're doing this at 1:53 a.m.
No way.
You're looking up the name of the actress who played Ally McBeal. Well,
I know. I've lost my mind.
Yeah, this is a good time. Send us an email. We'll get to them next week. eagle@nbcuni.com. The QR code is on the screen for another few seconds. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Now pause it if you want to do that. Also, rate and subscribe wherever you get your pods. If you're watching on YouTube, please click the like button and subscribe there as well. The Eagles won, so you all get a worry-free weekend of watching football. I get a weekend of raking leaves. I'm looking forward to that.
You have any plans for the weekend?
I have to do like normal people stuff because I've kind of been like running around like crazy.
Yeah.
And I have to go to LA next week. So I have to like go grocery shopping and rake some leaves and watch some football.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Everyone, enjoy your weekend. We'll talk to you next week. This has been Eagle Eye presented by
I'm going
Nissan.
to watch Ally McBeal this weekend.